Good afternoon and welcome to today's vlog, Thursday, 19th of February. Hope you're all well. One very quick thing before I go on to today. I've had a couple of messages on my comments. There's a shipper called Arm Logistics. Never heard of them, to be honest. I've never done any work for them, but apparently a couple of guys saying it looks like they've gone bust. They've disappeared off the CX, and these guys obviously owed a little bit of money. So if you've done anything with Arm Logistics and they owe you some cash, better start chasing now, and good luck if you're in that situation. Yeah, so on to today, and yeah, I'm afraid again it's another frustrating day. The week started off quite well, and it's it's not progressing. We're on a slippery slide down the hill. Looking for a job yesterday afternoon. It was very quiet again. Couple of bids I put on, jobs from Colchester, localish, few into London, which wasn't my preference, but I just put my normal price on and I didn't get anything. What I normally do is I keep the feed on till about 6 o'clock time. If I haven't got anything, I normally just switch it off then. There isn't much comes through after that, and got other things to do in my life, and then I sort of worry about it the next morning. But just on 6 o'clock yesterday, there was a job appeared. I looked at it. It just got me thinking, and I really was in two minds. It was from Thetford for 8:30 this morning. Now, it's a fair old trot to Thetford. This is where I'm getting a little bit, not annoyed at CX, but I start to wonder. I'll come on to this. So this job was from Thetford, 8:30 in the morning. Now once I drop my wife off, I'm about 50 miles from Thetford. It's a long way to run empty, really, to pick a job up first thing in the morning. But the job was for a large van, and it was going to Southend. 90 miles, I think it was, 91, 92 miles on the job. And I'm looking at it thinking, do I go for that or not? Now, my thought process is I have to drop my wife off at 6:15 in the morning, you know this, at Colchester Station. I then normally go and get some breakfast a few minutes up the road. So I'm normally ready to start work from about 6:30. So ideally, I want something in Colchester to collect at 7 o'clock or 7:30 latest. If I don't have anything, then I tend to park up and I'm sitting waiting. Now, again, experience has told me nothing really comes out in Colchester, probably the same as most areas, till about 8:30. So I'm sitting around for 2 hours, which is extremely frustrating. Not so bad in the summer, it's warm, lovely, I can go and sit outside and look for jobs. But obviously in the winter it's cold, it's wet, it's thoroughly depressing. So I'm thinking about this Thetford job, and I decided to put a price of £100 on it. Just over £1 a mile, but again, it's quiet, blah. It is a shipper that I've worked with before, and I thought, well, if I'm going to sit around for probably 2 hours, I might as well go and do something. And that 50 miles to Thetford I could knock off in about an hour and 10 minutes. So I put the price on, and I did get a phone call a few minutes later from the shipper. Guy I worked before, nice guy, and he gave me the job. So I dropped the wife off this morning. Got my breakfast, no rush. I left Colchester about 7. It's going to take me about an hour and 10 minutes, which it did, to get to Thetford. I had a quick stop on the way just to use the loo. Got on site round about 8:20. The goods were going to be ready at 8:30, and the warehouse opened at 8:30. Sure enough, wasn't quite ready when I got there. Not too bad though. It was 3 pallets, got it all on board, and then I had a short 10-minute wait for the paperwork, because that hadn't been prepared, and there was quite a bit of it. But anyway, I left the site at 9:05. 92 miles. It's going to take a couple of hours. Just went onto the A14, A11, came down the M11, M25, and then the A127 that way, rather than going back to the A12. Just fancied a change of scenery. Got on site, delivery 11:15. No problems, got it all off, and empty 11:35. Went and got my obligatory coffee, which I hadn't had, and started looking for jobs, and there wasn't any. Simple as that. Now, I read a Facebook post a few months ago from a guy who'd been on the CX a lot longer than I had, and he made a claim which might be slightly outrageous, I don't know, that he said the longer you've been on the CX, the less work you basically get offered. I'm no computer expert, but we know how algorithms work. You know, if you look at something on Google, you can guarantee if you go into Facebook within the next 6 hours, you've suddenly got ads for whatever it is you looked at appearing on your Facebook. And 3 times in the last week, 10 days, I've been to Bury St Edmunds, Thetford, that area, and I've never got anything out of there. And then today I'm running empty to Thetford. When I loaded and on the way down, I've seen about 3 or 4 jobs coming out of Southend. And then when I've got to Southend, nothing. There was 3 jobs, I tell a lie. There was one job for £4.15, which was one of these pickups from a manufacturer to go to a parcel company, you know, the type, the Every, Amazon. And I hate them jobs because they always take a while to load. They're either cartons and cartons and cartons, and then when you get to these parcel companies, you're in a queue of vans all trying to do the same thing, and you've got to normally offload it yourself, etc. The other job was one from Southend. It was actually going to Ilford, small van, 27 miles I think it was. I put £40 on it. I'm not going lower anyway than £40, didn't get that. But other than that, it was absolutely nothing. And it makes you start to wonder again whether the CX algorithm just sort of, I'm not going to give you anything. You know, I'm not going to offer you anything. You know, you're wasting your time sitting here. I had it yesterday with Haverhill, which is a pretty good area. As I say, I went to Thetford, and I'm starting to think there's some truth in this. I know it sounds maybe a bit mad, perhaps you know, the fact it's quiet is getting to me, and I'm losing my marbles, I don't know. Anyway, I've stayed around Southend. I looked at the search, or not sorry, who's nearby feature. There was about 20 vans in the Basildon area, which is a slightly bigger area, but my feed is open for up to 30 miles. So sorry, 50 miles. So if anything comes up in Basildon, I'll see it. Nothing now, and there's only a few vans. There's only a few in Southend, so I felt my chances were better. But it's now got to 2:15. Still nothing. There was a job for 4:30 this afternoon. It was a car job to pick a laptop up, which take up to Suffolk, but you know, it's going to be peanuts on a car job, and I'm not really waiting around till 4:15. So yeah, I'm going to give up. I'm not totally giving up. When I finish this and I put the feedback on, I've got to make my way towards Rayleigh. I'll go up the A130 there towards Chelmsford. So there's always something might come up in Chelmsford, a little job, little local job. I can pick another £40–50 up and sort of make the day up. Possibly, you know, sometimes pick something up for delivery tomorrow and try and get a decent start tomorrow. But looks like it's just going to be the one job, £100. It isn't very good. I'll survive, I'll live. Yeah, just, you know, and I say with the CX, I'm just starting to wonder whether that guy was right. The longer you've been on it, the less work you get offered. Interesting. Don't know what you think. If you think likewise or don't, stick it in the comments, and we'll have a read and perhaps discuss it in future. Other than that, not too much to talk about. Everything is fairly quiet. I'm not reading anything anywhere of any dramatic developments on CX or with anything in the courier world. So we'll call it a day on that. I hope you've had a good day yourself. I hope you've been, you know, successful. And yeah, let's see what tomorrow, Friday, brings. All the best now. Cheers, Paul.